My name is Miranda. I am 22 years old. I live with my grandmother. I lost my mother and father when I was 10, and my grandmother raised me. She gave me clothes, food, and shelter. She took care of everything. She watched over me like a mother. But I was young. I liked to go out. I liked laughing with my friends. Sometimes we went to parties. I did not always listen to my grandmother. She was too old for me, too serious. But I always respected her. She was the one who gave me life when mine was broken. My grandmother worried about my future. She wanted me to be safe. She wanted a man who would care for me the way she did. So, she arranged my marriage. She chose a man from our village. His name was Simon. Simon was a kind man. He was a carpenter. He worked hard every day. Soon, we got married, and our life as husband and wife began. It was very quiet, but it was full of Simon's love. He was a good husband. He loved me very much. He made me feel special. For 2 years, we lived in peace. We were happy together. Then Simon found a new job. It was in the city. The money was much better. We were both so happy. This was a chance for a new life. So, we moved to New York. Simon bought a small apartment. He went to work and worked hard. I cleaned the house and cooked dinner. In the evenings, we watched TV and ate dinner together. But the city changed me. I found new friends. These friends were rich. They took me to their parties. I was shocked. The parties were full of noise. Everyone was laughing, dancing, and drinking. They wore clothes I had never seen. I felt plain. I went to Simon. I asked for a fancy dress. I had to look like them. The dress cost $1,800. It was very expensive. But Simon did not hesitate. He had been saving money for years. He wanted to buy a small shop of his own, but he took all that money out and spent it on one beautiful dress for me. I felt so lucky to have a husband like Simon. He gave up his dream for my silly wish. But one dress was not enough. I wanted more clothes. I wanted gold jewelry for my ears and neck. Simon promised he would get the money in a week. He worked double shifts, but the city was expensive. A month passed, and he still did not have enough money for all my wishes. We began to drift apart. Simon was always at work. I was always at the parties. At night, when Simon came home tired and needing me, I was not there. One evening, I met Pete at a club. He wore an expensive suit. He was rich. He smiled at me. I felt a strange warm feeling being next to him. We danced. We drank wine. I started to see Pete again and again. He drove a nice car. He took me to expensive restaurants. Pete gave me so much money. I could buy anything I wanted. I started to forget Simon. His love felt like a distant memory. Then came the day I chose my path. I packed my new clothes and wrote a letter for Simon. I wrote, "I am sorry, my dear husband, to leave you, but I can't live like a simple woman. I need more than you can give me. I am sorry to leave. Hope you will forgive me. Goodbye." My grandmother called me that same week. She had heard the news in the village. Her voice was cold. Miranda, she said, you will never ever find a man who loves you like Simon does. You gave up true love for something worthless. I hung up on her. I did not care. Pete was my new life. Life with Pete was wonderful for a year. I laughed all the time. I went to every party. My wardrobe was full of gold and diamonds. Then I started to feel sick. My chest felt heavy, but I ignored it. I kept going out. One morning the pain was sharp. I finally went to the hospital. The doctor came in. His face was gray. He said I had cancer in my chest. It was very bad and had spread all over my body. I froze. I could not breathe. I was admitted immediately. Pete came to visit for a few weeks. He brought flowers, but his face always looked tense. He never stayed long. Soon, I was always in the hospital bed. One morning when I woke up, Pete was gone. On my bedside table was a letter and an envelope full of cash. I opened the letter. It said, I am sorry, Miranda, to leave you. We both had a great time together, but your health is getting worse every day. The doctor says your chance of surviving is very low. I cannot sit beside you and take care of you. I still have a life to live. So, I hope the money I left for you is enough. I am sorry. Please forgive me. My heart broke. My eyes filled with tears. The letter was written in the same way I once wrote for Simon when I left him. I threw the money across the room. I wanted to stand up. I wanted to run to Pete and scream, but when I tried, the pain in my chest stopped me. I fell back onto the bed, crying until I had no tears left. I picked up the phone. I called my grandmother. I told her everything. I told her the truth about Pete. I told her that she was right. Leaving Simon was my biggest mistake. My grandmother told me to stop crying. She said she was coming right away, but she did not come alone. She came with Simon, my husband. Seeing them, the two people I had hurt most, I could not speak. My eyes were full of tears. From that day on, they never left my side. My grandmother stayed all day. Simon worked his long shifts, but every night he was there. One night, Simon sat by my bed. He looked tired. I said, Simon, I am so sorry. He held my hand and said, you left, Miranda, but I never stopped loving you. His eyes filled with tears. We both cried. We hugged. We promised we would never leave each other again. My grandmother, standing in the doorway, quietly cried and left us alone. Simon sold our apartment in the city. He needed the money for my expensive treatments. With the good care from Simon and my grandmother, my health began to improve. The doctors were shocked. They said I could leave the hospital in a month if I kept improving. A month later, I was discharged. It was a miracle. I had spent nearly a year fighting. Simon and I moved into a small rented house. One afternoon, a friend from the city came to visit. She told me about Pete. She said he was not a rich man. He had only been in the city for a temporary job. The house and the car were all rented. He was a fake. I was not sad. I was happy. I was happy that the bastard had left me. He had done me a favor. After a month of recovery in the small house, Simon and I left the city. We went back to the village. We moved into my grandmother's house. She was so happy to have us. We started a new life. I stopped going to the parties. I waited for Simon every night. When he came home tired from work, I welcomed him with a table full of warm dishes. A few months later, I gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. Now all four of us live together, my husband, me, our son, and my grandmother. True love is more precious than money or parties. When we lose it, we often realize its value too late, but second chances can heal even the biggest mistakes. If you liked this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.